another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
Living through the video game crash of the early 80s, I was stuck playing games like Impossible Mission here on the Commodore 64, trying to get my gaming fix. Consoles have gone the way of the dodo bird. Horrible, horrible games, lack of creativity, and a lack of respect for creators led to the demise of the home video game console. Of course, I still had my Atari, my ColecoVision, my Intellivision, but it just felt like gaming consoles were dead, because essentially they were. So I was stuck with things like Impossible Mission and Tooth Invaders on the Commodore 64 to whet my gaming appetite. Of course, like I said, I went back and I still played some of the great console games like boxing on my Atari and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons on my Intellivision. So there were still a lot of games to play, but it was a depressing time because we came off of these really great systems, and the people that created them and the powers that be didn't see them as these amazing gateways into creativity or art. They simply saw them as a means to make themselves more and more money, with less and less quality, less and less creative people being rewarded, and just a lot of shovelware. But that's not to say that there weren't great games left to play. But all of that changed when I saw a commercial in 1985.
Will it be you? Will your family be the first to witness the birth of the incredible Nintendo Entertainment System? Will you be the first to see, to touch, to play with Rob, the extraordinary video robot? He follows the commands you put on screen to help you tackle even the toughest challenge. Will you be the first to raise the incredibly accurate Zapper and play games like Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley? The first to build a library of game packs like Kung Fu and golf, even games like Excitebike that you program yourself. Will you be the first to get all this in one package? The Nintendo Entertainment System, where video technology is more than a game.
Nintendo knew they had to market this new video game console as anything but a video game console, so they called it the Nintendo Entertainment System, with a pack-in robot that was absolutely cool, just to get it in the hands of consumers. It's hard to convey just how horrible the idea of a video game console was to consumers after the crash in the early 1983s. There were countless news articles about the video game industry and what had happened, and consumers had just moved on. To give you a sense of what happened and what Nintendo knew needed to happen, let's take a look at a news story from that period.
Home video fad of the early 80s had a spectacular rise, but the bottom fell out of the first home video boom virtually overnight. In 1983, earnings for the industry peaked at $3 billion. Only 2 years later, sales plummeted to a paltry $100 million. Industry experts like Howard Phillips, a product analyst at Nintendo, blamed the poor quality of the early video game systems for the market's collapse.
When it first came out in the early 80s, everybody rushed out to get one. It was so marvelous that you could have this in your home. It was great technology. It was something that all the kids were rushing to in the arcades. It was very, very enticing. Unfortunately, it was also junk.
The NES is regarded as one of the most influential consoles of all time. It helped revitalize the American gaming industry following the crash, and pioneered a now standard business model of licensing third-party developers to produce and distribute games. Designed by Masayuki Uemura, Nintendo's president Hiroshi Yamauchi called for a simple, cheap console that can run arcade games on cartridges. The actual Game & Watch was turned into the controller for the system, and the Western model was redesigned to resemble a video cassette recorder. Not everything bad came out of that video game crash in 1983, because the Famicom was influenced by the ColecoVision. ColecoVision's top seller was a port of Nintendo's Donkey Kong. The project's chief manager, Takayo Sawano, brought a ColecoVision home to his family, impressed by its smooth graphics, which were much, much better than the Atari 2600. The code name for the project was Gamecom, but Masayuki Uemura's wife proposed that the name be changed to Famicom, saying that it was neither a home or a personal computer, so why not a family computer? And believe it or not, the color was decided on after they saw a Japanese antenna manufacturer named DX Antenna using the colors red and white. The NES was released 2 years after the video game crash in 1983, and most people regarded electronic games as a fad, and many believed that the NES would soon fade away. Before the NES and Famicom, Nintendo was a moderately successful Japanese toy and playing card manufacturer, but the console's popularity helped the company grow into an internationally recognized name synonymous with video games like Atari had been before them, and set the stage for Japanese dominance of the video game industry. Nintendo changed the relationship between console manufacturers and third-party software developers by restricting developers from publishing and distributing software without licensed approval. This led to higher quality games, which helped change the attitude of a public that had grown weary from poorly produced games for earlier systems. This is one of the most important things that Nintendo did to set the Nintendo Entertainment System apart from what had come before. They recognized that an overabundance of shovelware, simply taking IPs that gamers were familiar with and making horrible games for a quick buck, they knew that by limiting what developers could do, they would ensure a higher level of quality.
Want to unlock a world of wonder and excitement? This is the key, the Nintendo Quality Seal. The seal assures you the best games, the best graphics, the best accessories. Without the seal, it's not Nintendo.
By 1988, observers stated that NES's popularity had grown so quickly that the market for Nintendo cartridges was larger than that for all home computer software. And by 1989, the previous year's reporting was in, and Nintendo had sold 7 million NES systems alone, almost as many as the number of Commodore 64 sold in the first 5 years on the market. By 1989, the Famicom was present in 37% of Japanese households, and by 1990, 30% of American households owned the NES, compared to 23% for all other personal computers.
A dreamlike adventure game for the family computer. Super Mario Brothers. Transform yourself with a secret power. Above ground and underground. To the sea and the sky. Mysterious things unfold, one after another. Out now. Super Mario Brothers.
For me, the Nintendo Entertainment System is the most important video game system of all time. Sure, you could look back and say somebody would have done it, but the fact of the matter is, nobody did. It was Nintendo that decided to resurrect the home video game market. It was Nintendo that recognized the lack of quality control, and it was Nintendo that implemented all of this and brought the video game industry back from the brink of death. What memories do you have with the Nintendo Entertainment System, and what memories do you have today, all these years later, with Nintendo Switch and a new Nintendo system coming on the horizon in 2025. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
For Nintendo, fate stalks your very being, and you need more than clues from cowardly villagers to survive when day turns into night.